If money keeps slipping through your fingers no matter how hard you work, the problem probably isn't intelligence or a lack of hustle. It's habits, tiny, repeatable behaviors that quietly tax your future every week. This is not a list of shaming cliches. It's a long, honest conversation about the patterns that trap ordinary people in permanent stress and the practical choreography that frees you without turning your life into a spreadsheet prison. No bullet points, no hype. Just the 10 habits that keep people poor, how they actually play out on a Tuesday, and what to do instead so your month starts keeping its promises. Start with the habit that turns every raise into vapor, lifestyle inflation by default. A better paycheck lands, and somehow the apartment grows a spare room, the car grows a turbo, dinners turn into "we deserve this," and a few subscription boxes sneak through the door with smiles. None of this feels reckless in the moment. It feels like relief, even justice. But when every new dollar automatically purchases a new bill, your savings rate never climbs, which means compounding never gets loud. The quietly wealthy do something less dramatic and more effective. They make a rule before the raise arrives. For 6 months, half goes to life and half goes to future. Present you gets nicer coffees, a gym you actually use, or a neighborhood that lowers your commute. Future you gets a higher automatic transfer into savings and investments on payday. After 6 months, you can re-decide, but by then, you've built a slope instead of a spike. The habit that keeps you poor is letting feelings decide at the register. The habit that makes you safe is letting a policy decide before the direct deposit hits. A close cousin is paying the distance tax without realizing it exists. Miles are a second rent. They bill you in fuel, tires, insurance, parking, tolls, daycare acrobatics invented by commute math, and the "I'm too tired to cook" delivery loop that follows long drives. People chase cheaper housing across town and accidentally buy a car, a meal plan, and a time debt. If you cannot move this year, you can still shrink your map in hours. Batch errands into one lap. Put joy within walking distance. Morning coffee, a weekly matinee, a park you actually visit, so weekends stop requiring a tab. Replace short loops with shoes or a bike basket when the map allows. If you can move, buy proximity over square footage. A smaller place near your real life costs less than a big place you have to drive to live in. The habit that keeps you poor is ignoring the miles between your house and your life. The habit that makes you richer is designing a map that charges you less every month your life. There's a third habit that wrecks plans even when income is fine: improvising your finances at 9:17 p.m. after a loud day. Humans have limited willpower. If you force yourself to make important money decisions when you're tired, anxious, or hungry, you will swipe first and make sense second. The people who look disciplined have a secret you can copy. They run their month on rails, not motivation. Paychecks land in a staging account with no card attached. In week 1 of each cycle, a bills-only account drafts the essentials without asking for heroics: housing and upkeep if you own, utilities, baseline communications, insurance, and minimum debt payments. The day after payday, tiny transfers refill labeled pockets for the costs you pretend are emergencies, because they never send calendar invites. Repairs and replacements, tires and service, co-pays and meds, seasonal energy spikes, modest gifts you actually give, kid or family activities if that's your world, pet care, and the annuals that always ambush. Every Friday morning, a weekly card reloads with the number that covers groceries and ordinary life for exactly 7 days. On payday itself, a savings transfer leaves staging before feelings wake up. The habit that keeps you poor is believing discipline will be available on demand. The habit that makes you solvent is building choreography once and letting the calendar do the welding. Debt by accident is the fourth habit, and it often starts as kindness to your future self. You meant to pay it all off later when the month calmed down. Later doesn't come. Interest arrives precisely on schedule. The minimum payment looks tiny, the amortization looks eternal. There's no morality here, only arithmetic. High-rate debt is a compounding tax on being human in a world designed to sell you urgency. You escape with a plan that requires zero heroics. Rails stop new balances from appearing. Fixed over-minimum auto pays leave staging on payday and never turn off. If a 0% transfer with a modest fee buys you a runway you can finish inside the promo window, schedule the exact payoff the day you open the account, freezer lock the plastic, and let the dates run. When a balance dies, redirect the exact amount on the same day to your sleep fund and your investing drip. The habit that keeps you poor is treating debt like a suggestion. The habit that frees you is treating payments like rent you owe your future, due on a calendar, no negotiations. Fifth is buying cheap instead of buying right. The internet loves frugal, but fake frugal is a disease. Cheap shoes that shred your back cost you physiotherapy. A bargain car that drinks fuel and needs monthly parts is a subscription to weekends in waiting rooms. A discount appliance that dies young makes you an unpaid logistics manager. The quietly wealthy are selective. They pay for reliability and repairability, then they leave status on the shelf. A cast iron pan outlives fads. Quality boots and a cobbler beat 3 pairs of fashion sneakers. A certified used car from a boring brand with a healthy maintenance record costs less than a deal that rents your future to a bank in insurance and fuel. The habit that keeps you poor is confusing price with cost. The habit that makes you rich is spending where your month gets cheaper for years and staying cheap where nothing compounds. Food is the 6th habit that leaks money in silence, not because you like restaurants, but because dinner keeps becoming an emergency. Emergencies are expensive. A well-stocked freezer is not an aesthetic, it's a financial device. Put a whiteboard on it and write 2 10-minute dinners you will cook exhausted. Eggs and beans on toast with a pan salad, pasta with canned tomatoes and a green, fried rice with an egg or chickpeas, quesadillas, a giant salad plus rotisserie chicken, a no-cook kit for nights that go sideways. The moment you can feed your household without a delivery app on a Tuesday, you steal back hundreds a month without a lecture. The habit that keeps you poor is letting hunger negotiate with your plan. The habit that compounds is making dinner boringly inevitable. 7th is paying attention you can't afford to rent out. Your phone is a storefront that monetizes your anxiety. Every ping is a little sales meeting you didn't schedule. You scroll, you feel behind, you buy, you trade, you interrupt a perfectly fine plan with impulse. Good money behavior is a quiet sport. Guard your attention and your budget improves without willpower. Move shopping and trading apps off your home screen. Turn off notifications that aren't humans you love or clients you serve. Keep a want list that must sit for 30 days before any item returns for a hearing. Half will evaporate without costing you anything. The few that remain have to explain how they make next month cheaper or richer. If they can't, they wait. The habit that keeps you poor is letting other people's business models decide your day. The habit that frees you is refusing to rent your attention for free. The 8th habit is trying to impress people who are also pretending. This shows up as cars, renovations with a soundtrack, vacations designed for photos, and wardrobes purchased for strangers. You can afford very little applause if your goal is to buy freedom. The rich who stay rich are boring about signaling. They invest in craft, not costumes. Their house is chosen by the monthly it creates and the map it sits in. Their car starts and stops and doesn't need to be introduced. Their Saturday looks like friends on a porch, not lines for a table they won't remember in a month. If you must flex, flex silently. Fund your accounts the day you're paid. Keep late fees extinct. Buy the world at low cost and show up rested because you own your calendar. The habit that keeps you poor is paying for a vibe. The habit that compounds is purchasing options you don't have to post about. 9th is under-earning by accident. Many hard-working people never ask for more because they don't know how to prove they deserve it, or they're waiting to be noticed. Employers buy outcomes, not effort. Start a file called Receipts. Outcomes. Every Friday, write one small result you shipped and attach a number. Minutes saved, errors prevented, revenue added, refunds reduced, satisfaction raised. Date it. When review season arrives, you aren't pleading because you're a team player. You are negotiating a split of value created with receipts. If you're independent, turn this habit outward. Name the outcome you sell so a stranger can buy it without a call. Put scope in writing so additions become change orders. Move from hourly to packages your client can plan around. The habit that keeps you poor is hoping fairness will find you. The habit that changes your bracket is showing up with a logbook of proof. The 10th habit is confusing "I'll get to it" with a system. People delay the unglamorous work that prevents fires, building a sleep fund, updating beneficiaries, getting adequate insurance, learning how taxes hit different accounts, and creating a one-paragraph investing policy they can obey when screens are red. Then a surprise arrives and sets 2 years on fire. You don't have to become a full-time money person. You only need to calendar a handful of small, repeatable appointments that keep chaos from getting expensive. Twice a year, June and November, do a 20-minute projection so you can adjust withholding and contributions on purpose. Once a quarter, rebuy or cancel your subscriptions out loud and route the free dollars to your floor or your investing drip. Once a year, read your insurance and match deductibles to your cash cushion so you aren't paying premiums to soothe fears your savings could calmly cover. And every payday, let the rails move money before moods. The habit that keeps you poor is treating maintenance like a hobby. The habit that makes you unbreakable is treating maintenance like an identity. It helps to walk through lives where these habits either ruin the month or quietly fix it. In one kitchen, a nurse in her late 20s rotates shifts. Surge rides, midnight delivery, and overdraft fees feel like bad luck. She isn't irresponsible, she's exhausted. She installs rails in an afternoon. Paychecks to staging, no card, week 1 drafts to a bills-only account, day after payday refills for repairs and replacements, tires and service, co-pays and meds, seasonal energy, modest gifts, kid or family activities, pet care and annuals, a Friday weekly card reload, a small automatic savings transfer that leaves before feelings, and a $100 investing drip into a low-cost global fund. She moves her phone charger out of the bedroom, writes 2 10-minute dinners on the freezer, and asks for a weekend shift differential once a month. 90 days later, late fees are fossils, delivery spend is halved, and her sleep fund feels like a blanket. Nothing dramatic happened. Her worst days just have fewer chances to wreck her month. In another home, a teacher couple with 2 kids rents a bargain far from work and friends. 2 cars, insurance, fuel, daycare contortions invented by commute math, weekends lost to errands, delivery because evenings are gone. They sell square footage and buy proximity. 1 car disappears, fuel and insurance shrink. The kitchen feeds them because evenings feel human again. Their weekly card number drops because groceries are planned and close. They keep 2 cheap joys on the calendar, matinees and park picnics, because killing joy kills plans. A year later, their savings rate is finally real, their investing transfers are boring, and they don't need a dramatic raise to feel wealthier. They simply stopped paying the distance tax and the drama tax. Across town, a self-employed designer confuses heat with skill and buys the most exciting story she can find. Screens flash, dopamine flows, and the tax bill arrives hand in hand with drawdowns. She doesn't quit, she fences curiosity. 10% of play lives in a sandbox she can afford to lose. The other 90% goes to a dull mix she can hold. She becomes her own payroll. Invoices clear into staging, no card. A fixed salary hits bills only twice a month. The weekly card refills every Friday. And investments buy the world on schedule. She starts a receipts outcomes file and raises prices gently for new clients because her proof is visible even to herself. A quiet year later, she has fewer exciting stories and more options. These examples are not meant to be inspirational posters, they are meant to be instructions. If you're currently living all 10 habits that keep people poor, you do not need to fix them all by Monday. Pick the one that leaks the most and solve it for 4 Fridays in a row. If dinner keeps becoming an emergency, write 2 exhausted night meals on the freezer. Do 1 shop for the pantry and set your weekly card to reflect groceries you actually eat at home. If debt is loud, Set fixed over minimum auto pays that leave on payday and freeze the plastic that gets you in trouble. If miles are eating you, batch errands and schedule joy in walking distance this month. If attention is the leak, move the apps, charge your phone outside your bedroom, and give the 30-day want list a real try. The point isn't perfection, it's removing the friction that turns ordinary lives into expensive ones. It's also worth admitting that some months are simply hard because the world can be unfair. Medical bills are not moral tests. Rents rise faster than pay in entire cities. Childcare can feel like a second mortgage. Facing that reality is not defeatism, it's the start of intelligent design. When the world is loud, the only sensible answer is to make your own month as quiet as possible. Rails are quiet. Proximity is quiet. Kitchen logistics are quiet. A small cash buffer is quiet. A low-cost portfolio on autopilot is quiet. Receipts that turn into raises are quiet. Quiet months compound into loud options. Loud months become survivable because you don't have to be a hero to keep going. There's a ceremony you can run tonight that costs nothing and starts the slope in your favor. Sit down with water and your banking app. Rename 2 accounts so even your future tired self can't pretend to forget them. Schedule 4 automatic moves for your next payday, week 1 drafts from a bills-only account, day after payday refills for labeled pockets, a Friday reload for your weekly card, and a savings transfer that leaves before feelings. If your sleep fund is thin, set the transfer to an amount you can hit on your worst week and let the streak matter more than the size. Turn on a tiny investing drip into a broad, low-cost fund in the most tax-kind account you can keep, even $20 or $50 to start, because ownership on a schedule is how ordinary people beat impatience. Put the freezer whiteboard up and write 2 10-minute dinners you'll make this week. Move shopping and trading apps off your home screen, start the receipts outcomes file, and add 1 line this Friday. Then let the pipes run for 4 Fridays before you adjust anything. Boredom is the sound of getting rich the slow way. 6 months from now, if you keep even half of these practices, your life won't look like a reality show. It will look like a week that keeps its promises. Bills will draft without drama. Pockets will catch the surprises that used to become debt. The weekly card will make groceries honest. Your sleep fund will feel like a blanket. Your investing drip will buy a little more of the world whether or not you remembered to be motivated. Your map will charge you less for distance. Your kitchen will feed you more than the internet does. Your phone will stop selling you panic. Your work will pay you more because you brought receipts, not apologies. And the number on your screen will finally reflect design, not mood. That is how you stop being kept poor by habits you didn't even know you had. You don't need a windfall, a miracle, or a new personality. You need a handful of small, boring promises you can keep on bad days. Make those promises with help from your calendar instead of your willpower. Protect your attention like it's principal. Choose proximity over square footage. Buy reliability and repairability where it matters, and let the rest be cheap. Ask for more with proof, and then give your plan enough Fridays to become a life. The internet won't applaud, your future self will, and they'll spend that applause on something you can keep. A Tuesday where money finally stops deciding what you can be brave about.